Hey folks, Jason, JTL Painfully Honest Tech here with a Note 8 after 8 days of use painfully honest review. So what do I think about this thing after having it for 8 days? Generally, it's an amazing phone. The build is so solid, yet the glass is supple. I mean, it has a delicate feel to it, but it has some heft to it as well. It felt amazing from the time that I pulled it out of the box. It's a big phone, for sure, but it doesn't feel as big as, say, like the iPhone 7 Plus because of the aspect ratio being thinner. And then we've got my old friend, the S Pen. So nice to have you back. I've missed you. Let's talk about what else I think is good about this phone. The screen is the best that I've ever seen of any screen ever. It's just so crisp, so clear, so clean. I really can't complain about it at all. That's not true. That's not true. I can't complain about it a little bit because I have found that with auto brightness on, this phone it's still too bright in darker environs. Like if I'm watching TV and looking at the phone, or laying in bed and trying to read or something like that, I find that even with auto brightness on, it doesn't make it dim enough. So I have to dim it more. But it's, maybe that's a software thing, I don't know. I also appreciate that the screen is flatter. It still has the curves, but the curves don't happen until they just drop off right beyond the edge of where you want to work. So I really appreciate that as well. As I said in the open, the build is just amazing. I love that it's a little bit of a thicker phone. It's got some heft to it. And the edges, they have a nice ridge to them. The what is this, aluminum? Yeah, the aluminum just kind of grabs at you and feels really good when you're holding it without a case. But most of the time I try and put on a case because I don't want to hurt the phone. But I have dropped it several times and still no damage, even with thin cases on. I've been trying out a few different cases, even with thin cases on, no damage. So all is good to this point. Another thing that's good about the less pronounced edge is my fat fingers don't false trigger the phone when I'm trying to use it as much. Well, I don't think at all, actually. Now, this is going to sound weird, but one thing I like is the fingerprint scanner. It works better for me than it did on the S8 Plus. I don't know why. I don't have any problem reaching it. It just happens to work better now, and I don't quite understand it, but I use it in apps that allow you to enter the app through fingerprint. That's really the only time I use it. Otherwise, I use Face Unlock, and the Face Unlock has been working well. I use this guy on the side, or I'll use the hidden home button, this guy. And it's been working well. Okay, so here's another thing that I actually like about the phone. And I think it has a lot to do with the most recent update, but I like the Bixby button now. And now that I'm kind of starting to understand what Bixby is supposedly all about, I appreciate the difference between Bixby and Google Assistant and everything else. So you can do things like, say, open camera app and take a photo.
Got it. Picture taken.
Thank you, Bixby. Why is Bixby a girl? Bixby doesn't seem like a feminine name to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I like being able to tell someone to do something and then have them actually do it most of the time. And now that just pressing the button doesn't launch Bixby right away, you have to do a long press and talk to it. It works so much better, and I've been using it for these past couple of days. Now we get to the heavy hitters. The S Pen. The S Pen is so big to me. I'm a writer, I'm a big note taker. I love having access to taking notes whenever. I'm a hoarder of info. If I have an idea, I want to get it down. And I haven't really had a phone with a stylus since the Note 5. I had the Note 7 briefly, but of course, that all went up in smoke. There's so many new features with this S Pen. I just really appreciate having something that, you know, not only can you just write on the screen. One thing I've been using is this Smart Select. Been using it a lot, just going like this, Smart Selecting, and then saving. So there's so much, like for me, doing research, information gathering, trying to get stuff for these videos, like I've been doing screen captures of my battery life and that kind of thing. S Pen has proved to be invaluable, and it takes a while to get habitual about using the S Pen. A lot of people complain. They say, oh, well, the S Pen, I play with it for the first couple of weeks and then I forget that it's there and I never use it. However, if you really worked at it, you could use the S Pen and get a lot of great use out of it. I'm going to keep trying to do that as I continue to use the phone. I found that I like browsing with it because it can be more exact. And I've also found that I like writing text to convert to type in text messages and that kind of thing. It took me a little while to get used to how much space to leave in between words and stuff, but now I'm writing huge text. I'm not a very good text typer. Again, fat old man thumbs, I guess. I don't know. But the text writing, I remember trying it in an earlier version of the Note, and it wasn't really all that great. But now it seems to work really, really well and convert text flawlessly almost once you get used to what it needs you to do and how it needs you to write. The last thing I've been incredibly impressed with is the camera. I'm going to show you guys some shots that I've taken with the camera. I haven't really done a lot of camera stuff since I've had the phone, taken a few shots, and I've been impressed as hell with what I've seen with this camera. Even in comparisons that I've seen on YouTube between the V30 and the Note 8. Everybody's gushing about that V30 camera, but I've liked the Note 8 photos and videos over the V30 every single time I've seen them. But there are some things about the camera that I don't like, that really bother me, actually. Let's talk about those. Let's move over to the bad side and just keep going with camera. I guess I can tell Bixby what to do, and she'll do it when it comes to doing things in the camera app. But I still find the camera app really difficult to navigate. I had the same problem with the S8 Plus. I got slammed in the comments. Everybody called me stupid. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. But to me, this camera app versus stock Android versus iOS, I just can't seem to get it to make sense in my head. So maybe I gotta get a third-party camera app. One thing I really hate. 10-minute recording limit on 4K video. I didn't have this problem with my V20. I didn't have it with my iPhone 7 Plus, but for some reason Samsung is only allowing us to record for 10 minutes at a time with the 4K. And I use my phone for overhead shots and B-roll all the time, and I can guarantee you that most of my videos are longer than 10 minutes before I cut them down. So I need that functionality, and honestly, unless I can figure out some kind of workaround, and if anybody knows of anything down in the comments, let me know. It might be a deal breaker for me because I need that functionality from my camera. I'm sort of married to shooting 4K now. Number 2 thing that is bad. The Samsung Experience / TouchWiz, whatever you want to call it. Now this just started happening again, but when I got it out of the box and I started to set it up, I couldn't move anything on the home screen. And now, here we are again. I can't get the little pop-up to come up to say that I can delete it or any of that kind of stuff, even with the widgets. The widgets aren't working either. So now, I might have to factory reset the phone again because for some reason, it's not working. Has anybody else had this problem? Not being able to get stuff off your home screen? Not getting that little pop-up? It really pissing me off at this point. And again, might be something that's a deal breaker, especially since it's happened a second time. And I wanted to keep it this way. And of course, as with every Samsung phone, there is some lag. The lag hasn't been terrible, but I've had some apps crash. I've had some stuttering. I had some weirdness going on. These are things that might be able to be fixed in software updates, that kind of thing. But for a company that struggles to keep their phones running smoothly, I don't like that 1 week out I have lag. Number 4 thing that I don't like about the Galaxy Note 8, the battery. It's not that I think that the battery is too small. We'll cover that in a second. But I think there's something about having the battery percentage on the phone. Like, I can look down and see that I have 28% battery left. It's 8:41. I've not been heavily using the phone today. I've just been listening to some music. I haven't been watching too much video. I've done normal work things, and still, it's down to 28%. And the Android battery bar seems to go down more quickly than the iOS battery bar. And this all brings up like battery anxiety for me. And I know fast charging, power bricks, all this other stuff. I just want to know that I'm going to get through a day with the battery on my phone. The iPhone 7 Plus, all the Plus models of the iPhone have always been able to do that for me. This phone and other Android phones, not so much. And it kind of bums me out. I have found the battery life on this phone somewhat inconsistent. The first day was terrible. It had 65% and it died really quickly. Then the next day, I think I got 5 or 6 hours of screen on time. I'll put some caps up on the screen so you can see that. I have found at the end of the day that I don't have as much as I would feel comfortable having. I think the battery on this is, in terms of how long it lasts, is pretty much on par with the S8 Plus that I had. But still, it dies quickly enough that it makes me nervous, and I don't want to be nervous. So what's my verdict here? I mean, the Galaxy Note 8 is probably the most feature-rich phone I've ever used, and I might say that just from the S Pen. It makes it 10 times more functional than any other phone out there. Then you've got the customizability of Android, and then the things that TouchWiz adds, and the absolutely beautiful design. This is the sexiest phone I've touched all year. Unfortunately, there are those few places where Samsung played it safe, like with the battery, and there are some of those places where the same problems seem to be cropping up. The software seems to be unreliable. The lag seems to still be there. And that has me still thinking about what other phones are coming out in 2017. The iPhone 8 Plus is coming out in just a couple of days. Maybe I'll go pick one up, even though I made a video slagging on it, and do a little shootout between the two and see which one I decide to keep. What do you think? So that's my painfully honest review after 8 days of using the Samsung Galaxy Note 8. What have your experiences been with the Note 8? Or do you not have one yet and you hope to get one? It's a beautiful phone. It's a wonderful phone. If some of these problems that I have with it have solutions, this is like my forever phone. Maybe. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you have solutions to my problems? Is there anything that I missed? I'm going to do a longer term review of this if I end up keeping it. I'll be back with more content. I've got some new cases and I've got some other stuff that Note 8 related that I'm going to do. So stick with me. If you like this video, please go ahead and like it. Please subscribe to catch my other stuff. Please bell notify yourself so that you can know when I get things onto the YouTube. And or don't. I mean, I don't know. I hate to beg. Anyway, thanks for being here. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This has been a painfully honest review of the Galaxy Note 8 after 8 days of use. Until the next time, I'm out.